The world of entrepreneurship is a brutal battleground. Statistics paint a grim picture. Most startups crash and burn within a few short years. It's a tragedy of wasted ambition, squandered resources, and shattered potential. But amidst this carnage, a select few companies thrive. They rise from the ashes, stronger, leaner, smarter. Well, what's their secret? Eric Ries, in his groundbreaking book, The Lean Startup, reveals the answer. This isn't your grandfather's business manual. It's a manifesto for the modern entrepreneur, a blueprint for shattering the old rules and building a company designed to win in a volatile world. If you're tired of gambling with your business, if you long to replace gut feelings with data-driven insights, if you're ready to build a company that doesn't just survive but dominates, then The Lean Startup is your guide. Embrace its philosophy and you'll learn how to relentlessly test your ideas, pivot faster than your competitors, and create products and services that customers can't live without. This is the entrepreneur's guide to building an unstoppable force, a company designed to outsmart, outpace, and outlast the competition. Let's be honest, those old-school monster business plans most of us were taught to write, they're more likely to gather dust than pave a road to success. They're bloated with predictions, fancy charts, and assumptions that may never see the light of day. The Lean Startup method shifts the focus. Instead of hiding in your office crafting a hypothetical masterpiece, Eric Ries advocates getting out of the building. It's about ditching the guesswork and starting with a few core hypotheses about your idea. What's the problem you're solving? Who are you solving it for? What makes your solution different? And frankly, better than what's out there? Getting real-world answers to those questions is the essence of the Lean Startup approach. It's about validating those assumptions before you invest too much time and money in something that may not resonate with actual customers. Now that you're armed with the get-out-of-the-building mindset, it's time to zoom in and define what you're actually out there to build. The Lean Startup way is all about laser focus on the core problem you're solving. Ask yourself, why should anyone care about my idea? What pain am I alleviating for my customers? You need to articulate this problem statement clearly and concisely. Understanding your target customer is absolutely essential here. Who are they? What keeps them up at night? What are their frustrations with current solutions? Only once you have this solid foundation can you start thinking about the unique value proposition your solution offers. Why will customers choose you and not a competitor? What's that special something, that extra benefit or unique feature that sets you apart? Defining the problem, the customer, and your value proposition lays the groundwork for the next exciting phase in the Lean Startup journey: experimentation. It's time to bring your idea to life. Well, at least a rough early version of it. This is where the concept of the minimum viable product, or MVP, comes into play. Forget building a fully fledged product right out of the gate. An MVP is a stripped-down version laser-focused on testing your riskiest assumptions. Think of it as a rough prototype to get real feedback rather than relying on what you think customers want. The whole purpose of the Lean Startup is to create a cycle of rapid learning. Shorten the time between releasing an MVP, getting feedback, and refining your idea. It's about iteration evolving your product continually based on real-world data, not assumptions. The faster you experiment, the quicker you can steer your business in the right direction, avoiding those costly dead ends. Let's shift gears and talk about steering your startup. It's about using the data you gathered through those early experiments to make impactful decisions. At the heart of every startup are the leap of faith assumptions. These are the fundamental beliefs about your business model that must be true for you to succeed. Think of them as the make or break foundations of your idea. For example, if you're convinced people are willing to pay a premium price for a top quality product, that's a core assumption. If you're building a subscription service, you're assuming customers want to pay regularly instead of once. You get the idea. Now, the trick with the Lean Startup method is prioritizing which of these assumptions you test first. You want to focus on the ones that are both highly uncertain and could sink your business if you're wrong. Testing these make-or-break assumptions early can save you from running full speed with a flawed business model. Alright, let's dive into the exciting part. How do you actually test these core assumptions and gather that valuable data? It's time to get strategic about testing those core assumptions we just talked about. This isn't just about throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. The Lean Startup is about designing targeted experiments to get the insights you need. There are loads of different test methods you can use. Let's break down a few key ones. Smoke tests. These are great for gauging initial interest. Create a simple landing page or ad campaign to see if your target audience even bites. You aren't building a product yet, just testing the waters. Concierge MVP. This is where you manually provide your service to a small group of customers. It helps you learn about their pain points and validate your solution in a hands-on way. And don't forget the power of customer interviews. Talking directly to potential users can yield incredibly rich insights. Dive into their problems, fears, and motivations to understand if your idea truly resonates. Now, all this testing would be useless without a way to measure the results. Let's talk about how to track your progress and make sense of the data you're collecting. Don't fall into the trap of vanity metrics. Big numbers of website visitors or social media followers might look good on paper, but they don't always equal business success. The lean startup is about focusing on actionable metrics, those that directly tie back to the health of your business model. Are people signing up for your MVP's waitlist? Are trial users actually converting into paying customers? These are the hard-hitting questions you should be asking. And that's where innovation accounting comes in. It's a way to track your progress beyond traditional financial metrics, especially in the early stages of your startup when revenue might be limited. Innovation accounting helps you understand if you're actually learning and making progress toward building a sustainable business, not just getting lost in feel-good numbers. Data is your secret weapon, and it's going to guide one of the most critical decisions any startup founder faces: deciding when to pivot and when to persevere. The word pivot has become a bit of a buzzword in the startup world, and for good reason. Pivoting is about being adaptable while remaining true to your overall vision. It's about recognizing when your initial strategy isn't quite hitting the mark and having the guts to course correct. Don't think of pivoting as failure. Think of it as a sign of learning and growth. Some of the most successful companies started with very different ideas than what they ultimately became. There are many different types of pivots. Let's touch on a few common ones. Zoom-in pivot. You realize one feature of your product is actually where the true value lies, so you narrow your focus. Zoom-out pivot. Your solution doesn't solve your original target market's problem, but it could be incredibly valuable for a different customer segment. Technology pivot. You discover a drastically better way to solve the problem using completely different technology. The key is using data collected during your experiments as evidence for when and how to pivot. A pivot shouldn't be a random decision. It needs to be backed by insights. You've experimented, you've validated, and maybe you've even pivoted once or twice. Now, how do you hit the gas and accelerate your startup's growth? When you're first starting out, think small batches instead of mass production. This lean mentality will change the way you approach nearly every aspect of your business. Why small batches? Especially in the early stages, they help you reduce waste. Why pour a ton of resources into building a feature before knowing if it's what customers actually want? Smaller batches also speed up your learning cycle. Working in small iterations lets you gather feedback quickly, refine your product, and adapt to what your customer truly needs. This keeps you nimble and responsive, unlike companies with slow, bloated development cycles. Now, once you have a validated product, it's time to think about growth. How you'll scale your business and reach a wider audience. Growth isn't magic. In the lean startup, Eric Ries breaks it down into 3 main growth engines: sticky, viral, and paid. Understanding these will guide you on your path to scaling your business. Let's break these down. Sticky engine. This is all about customer retention. How do you keep people engaged and coming back for more? High retention rates are a key to long-term growth. Viral engine. This is where your product spreads like wildfire through word of mouth and referrals. Building virality directly into your product is the holy grail for many startups. Paid engine. The most obvious one, using advertising and marketing to acquire customers. The key here is ensuring you're making more money from a customer than it costs to acquire them. Every business needs a growth engine, and sometimes you'll even use a combination of them. The key is to figure out which engine is best suited to your specific business model and target market. There's no one-size-fits-all model. As your startup gains momentum, the focus shifts to adaptation, maintaining that innovative, experimental mindset. The world, especially the world of business and technology, moves at breakneck speed. Adaptive organizations are the ones that thrive in this chaos. It's about being able to learn, react, and reinvent yourself in a constantly changing environment. The biggest challenge for many startups is maintaining that nimble, innovative mindset as they grow and become more established. It's easy to get bogged down in bureaucracy, slow decision-making, and aversion to risk. The lean startup philosophy encourages you to fight that inertia. How can you keep the spirit of experimentation alive even as your company scales? It's about creating structures and processes that encourage calculated risk-taking, learning from failure, and empowering teams to try new ideas. Adapting to what's happening now is crucial, but true innovation is about staying a few steps ahead of the curve. Let's talk about how to foster a culture of innovation throughout your organization. Innovation shouldn't be confined to the scrappy early days of your startup. Building a culture where new ideas can flourish from anywhere in your organization is essential for its long-term future. This means empowering employees to take risks and experiment. Create spaces where new ideas are encouraged, and importantly, where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, not a career setback. Larger companies often face a unique challenge: fostering disruptive innovation alongside their core business. Setting up dedicated teams or even separate innovation labs can be a powerful way to pursue those big, potentially risky ideas that could transform your industry. We've covered a lot of ground, but remember, the lean startup is always evolving. It's time to wrap up our deep dive into the book and look at the big picture. As we reach the end of our exploration of the lean startup, let's recap some of the most powerful lessons ingrained in this approach. First, ditch long, elaborate business plans. Embrace experimentation, get out into the real world, and validate your ideas before pouring time and money into them. Focus on the minimum viable product, getting a basic version of your solution into the hands of real customers for feedback as quickly as possible. Build a culture of constant learning. Measure what matters, analyze the data, and be ready to adjust your course. And don't forget the power of pivoting. Sometimes changing your strategy is the smartest move for long-term success. The essence of the lean startup is the build, measure, learn cycle. It's about continuously testing, iterating, and improving. This doesn't end once you have a successful product. It's a mindset critical for staying ahead in a rapidly evolving market. The lean startup philosophy has applications far beyond building a new company. Let's look at why this matters, even within established businesses. While the lean startup is primarily geared towards those starting new ventures, its principles can revolutionize the way any business operates. Even large, established companies need to be nimble and innovative to stay competitive. The ability to experiment, collect data, adapt, and innovate is key to survival, not just for scrappy startups, but corporations in every industry. The lean startup approach isn't just about creating products or companies. It's about a mindset. It's a mindset of continuous learning, relentless experimentation, and a willingness to embrace change. That kind of thinking is the secret weapon for businesses of any size, in any sector. I'm so glad you joined me on this journey through the lean startup. Remember, we're in this together. Share your thoughts and connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs in the comments. That's a wrap, folks. Now go out there and start disrupting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next adventure.